to walk in if you happen to be in the area. You can find me at lunch or brunch. I'm always out in the cafeteria. And then we have a lot of information on the school counseling website. There's a lot, I'll get into that a bit more, but North Tahoe High School does have a social media page and a website as well that they update. And you know, just check, see about what's new on these websites. And then yeah, please feel free. We're available to you, so don't hesitate to ask questions if you do have any. So this is the the North Tahoe High School website. You go onto that website, you go to programs, and then you will find school counseling. And then this is the homepage right now of the school counseling website. And you'll see that I am new, so that's why they put my name up there. But you can book appointments on the website. You can access career, college, or wellness resources as well. So I invite you to look. There's a lot on there, and you can have a lot of your questions answered initially just by going onto this website. So if you do book an appointment this way, you would just see this homepage here, and what you're looking for is class of 2027. So that's the class the graduating year. And you'll see you have an option of Mr. Ream or Ms. Django Cohen, and you would pick me, and then it will direct you to pick what type of appointment you're looking for, and then you'll have allocated time scheduled on my calendar so we can meet. And so we're really lucky here. We have a lot of resources in the counseling realm. We also have a wellness center. And so Hillary Jimenez is the wellness counselor. So she is there from 7:30 to 3. This room is open. It's on the second floor. And it's a really lovely, inviting space. She has tea and snacks sometimes. And if kids are feeling overwhelmed in class and they need a break, or if they just need a quiet place to do homework, they can go in here. And she is working directly with our counseling team, so this is a wonderful resource. So in order to have a really successful high school career, the parent and student counselor relationship is super important. And so we're all working together to ensure the students can have a great time here. So parents, we would ask that you continue to encourage and support your student while also allowing them to start building their own responsibilities. And then it's never too early to start talking about future plans and hopes. Get that seed planted. And then help to build those healthy habits that support staying on track and moving in a positive direction. And then students, if you could begin to also think about your future and what colleges or careers might be of interest to you. And then it's really important to have some kind of an organizational system. So, do you like to write on a paper agenda, or do you have like an app on your phone, like a calendar app or reminder app? These are all just really nice so that you can stay on track of your deadlines and all your activities. It's really busy in school, so I really recommend this. And then it's great to build those relationships with everyone here, so your administrators, other students, and your teachers. These are all people who will be helpful to you, and potentially you could be helpful to other peers. Those relationships are just really, really nice to have here at school. Okay, so I'm gonna go through the transcript again, so sorry you have to sit through this part again, but yeah, so this is the formal document that students will receive here at the high school. Every year it updates to reflect the classes that the students took and their grades. So every block with white, that is a semester, and there are 2 semesters in a year. and you'll see that there are the class names, the grades, and then underneath each block, you'll see a GPA, and that is the grade point average of those classes. So you'll notice that you'll have a GPA for your semester and then a GPA for the entire year. Make sure you're checking these transcripts. It's possible there could be an error with your name or your birthday, or maybe your grade is incorrect. So if that's true and you catch it, please let myself or the registrar, Blanca, know, and we'll make sure it's rectified. So at the bottom of the transcript, we zoomed in here a little bit so you could see how the grade point averages are for cumulative, which is for all of the courses, for all the semesters. The first two lines, those are your academic GPA. So that considers every class that a student took that is A through G approved, and that is the system that UC schools use in order to consider a student for admission. And then you'll notice that there's a total GPA on the very third line, and that is for every class a student has taken, regardless of it's A through G approved or not. Then you'll notice there are two columns, weighted and unweighted. And so the weighted GPA considers AP classes and then also a college class. So perhaps you took an outside college class and we approved it here, and it's approved through the UC system. This class could be added into your weighted GPA, and that boosts you up a bit. Honors classes unfortunately don't count towards that weight, so it really is only the AP and then the college level. Now on the right side, you'll notice the number of credits a student does need to earn in order to graduate from high school here. And so every year is 10 credits. So you'll see English 9, 10, 11, 12. Those are each 10 credits, so that's 40 for English. You need 30 credits for math, so it's possible a student may only take 3 years of math. You need a year of life science, which is typically biology, a year of physical science, which is typically chemistry, and then a world history class, which usually happens sophomore year, a US history class, which is usually junior year, and then you do need government and economics, which are both half-year classes, and the government counts for your history. We'll go into this a bit more, but it's really only 2 years of history that you need. So the world history and the US history are the main way you will earn those 2 credits, or 20 credits. And then you do need a year of PE health, which is like a full year where there's PE and health interwoven throughout the whole year. And then 1 more year of PE. And there are a few ways to earn PE credit, so if you do have questions about that, you can reach out to me and we can discuss other options than just a class here at school. And then to graduate from here, you need a year of fine art. So that's either like an art, ceramics, photo class, or it could be a music class. So you could do that, or you could take a year of world language. And either of those will fulfill that line. And then we also have a requirement of career and technical education, the CTE, and that is culinary, engineering, or sports medicine. Those are the 3 options for that. And then lastly, there are 6 elective credits that you'll need in order to graduate. Yeah, I don't want you to get too bogged down by this. I'll talk about it a little bit later, but this is like embedded in our work together, and teachers cover this stuff, and it is part of like what we do when we schedule you all, so it's not going to be difficult to achieve this. So here at North Tahoe High School, we have a really strong focus on the A through G requirements because we do want students to know what they need in order to be admitted into a UC school or a California State University. So I'll go over this a bit more on how it relates to our classes. But the thing to remember is there are categories A all the way through G, and they each count for a different subject. A is history, B is English, C is math, D is laboratory science, E is foreign language, F is visual and performing arts, and then G is a college prep elective. So really any other class within this, if you do like 4 years of math, for example, that would count as your G. And the important thing is that you do need to earn a C. So if you earn a D in one of these classes, it won't count. So you will have to maybe do a credit recovery or take a different class in order to make up that category. Okay, so the A category, you need 2 years of history. We offer modern world history or AP human geography for sophomores, US history or AP US history for juniors, and then as I mentioned, the government or AP government senior year. 4 years of English. Our typical class for freshmen and sophomores are pre-AP English 1 or 2, and then there is the honors level for that. And then we have an offering of English 11 or AP English language. And then senior year, we have expository writing, reading and writing, or AP English Lit. So students can choose, depending on their motivation and like their goals, which level they would like. And so then 3 years of math is required for A through G. However, we do recommend 4, and that's why it's that like alternate green color, because it really is more competitive if you do take the 4 years. And for A through G, not for graduating from the high school, but for A through G, you do need to have completed integrated math 1, 2, and 3. So say you're really passionate about math and the student starts at IM2 their freshman year, that's totally fine. They just get a little further along on these options. But if a student is trying to get a really strong foundation and they take IM1 their freshman year, they will naturally finish IM1 through 3 in order to be A through G approved. And then there's 2 years of laboratory science. It's biology and chemistry recommended first, and then you build upon that. And again, 4 years is recommended, but 2 years is the minimum. And then for the difference between our graduation requirements and A through G is that foreign language is a requirement for the colleges. So they want 2 years minimum, preferably 3. And so we do offer Spanish 1 through 4, Spanish 3, 4 for Spanish speakers, and then also an AP Spanish language and culture class. So then on top of the world language, there's also the fine arts requirement. So you do that 2 years of world language, and then you also will take a year of art or music or photo. We have some cool electives here. Music production is interesting, a little different. So yeah, those are our options. And then, like I mentioned before, a college prep elective is also required. So any of these electives would count in addition to like a 4th year of a class, a science class or a math class. Yeah, we have culinary, engineering, leadership, college and career readiness 9 and grade 12, business math, sports medicine, microeconomics, and then also the AP version of that, and then AP psychology. So yeah, like I mentioned before, this is like a lot of details. It's really hard to like remember everything. We have, even for us, like we use these worksheets in order to go through and like track the students and make sure that everyone is going in the right direction. And when we're scheduling meetings, we're looking at this and cross-referencing so that they have all the things they need to reach their goals. And so we will also be having one-on-one meetings, so we'll be in touch about that. so that we can, cross things off together and map everything out. And there will also be meetings in Pathways. The teachers work with the students on this. And then we will have annual parent workshops every year. And then you're always welcome to come in and if you want any extra copies of our graduation requirement worksheets or the A through G requirement worksheets, we have a lot of those, and students might just take one and work on it if they want to. So I think the most important thing to keep in mind is that, school should be enjoyable for you. You're here to learn, and yes, you do want to keep in mind the graduation requirements in A through G, but also you want to really focus in on the subjects that you enjoy. So you can kind of cater your requirements to your interests. So if a student really loves Spanish, go ahead, take the 4 years. It'll count for other things. Or if you want to pursue art, after high school, take your art electives, fill in your schedule when you have room for it. So I think sometimes people feel a lot of pressure to, take classes that they feel a college will like. They'll make them competitive. But ultimately, you want to also be taking a path that is the right fit. So if a student, is interested in art and never takes really any art classes and doesn't have a portfolio, they won't be ready for applying to those types of colleges or those outside programs. So working with your interests also does help the student to, be ready for after their high school. So yeah, have you heard about SCORE? Have you guys done that yet? Not yet, okay. Yeah, so this is our college and career readiness program, and it's free. Every student has an account, and it will be rolled out to the freshmen soon. It'll be probably in Pathways that you guys will get it, but yeah, it's really cool. You can do a ton of research on colleges and careers, and there are also personality inventories on there. So it's just kind of fun to get in there and explore when you get the information. And you guys can do this at home too. So it'll be just a nice thing to do to get ready for your after high school planning. And so yeah, here at high school now, it's different from middle school in the sense that there will be higher expectations for academics, and teachers are generally following the 1 to 2 hour rule, where they will be giving work that requires that you put in that amount of time after school. This might not look just like sitting down and doing a worksheet for 2 hours. What it might mean is that oh, I have a group project in 2 weeks, and I have to really get started on my piece. So what research can I get started on tonight? Or how can I get ahead in this book that I need to read? And maybe doing community service. These are all things that will help you down the line. It builds really good habits, and there will be times where life gets super busy, and if you are planning ahead and getting a little ahead with your work, you won't fall behind if a couple days you aren't able to do something because you've already planned for that. And another interesting thing that you probably have heard about before are the different learning styles that research has shown. So there is, different ways of learning that could be beneficial to retain the information. So paying attention, when you're in school or when you're at home, what is the best way to retain this for your tests? So visual learners are those who benefit from visual aids such as videos or presentations and diagrams. Something like this would be really useful for a visual learner. Auditory are people who like to talk it out, can process the information while they're speaking. Reading and writing learners, if they're reading and writing text-heavy resources, are going to be really helpful. And then kinesthetic, so students retain information best when they can connect with their bodies and physical senses to the concept. So this would be hands-on activities, experiments. A lot of people are a big mixture of these, but you might notice if you do pay attention that there are one or two that really feel good for you, and if you're ever asking for extra help from teachers or you're working at home, knowing this about yourself could be useful. Okay, so pretty much there's a lot to think about, but if you just focus on the 4 things that I'm gonna talk about now, you'll be good for your freshman year. So the first thing is just focusing on being successful in school. So yes, your grades matter, but more importantly, it's important to learn. So do you know the content so that for next year, you're ready to go and you feel confident that you don't have any gaps? And then also, because your GPA will average over the course of the 4 years, 9th grade is a quarter of that. So it is important to try your best freshman year because, you know, it will be harder to get that GPA that you need if you had a really hard freshman year. And then also learning your systems. So what works for you, what organizational systems will allow you to be most successful, maybe trying out different things like I mentioned, paper or electronic can be super useful. And then also building those relationships with teachers. And these teachers, you might have them again, and also they could be the ones who write your recommendations for college or whatever programs you might choose for after high school. So now's a great time to start cultivating those. And then also, high school's an awesome time to just get to know yourself. So trying to learn what kind of a learner you are, and then also taking one of those skill or interest inventories that I mentioned. So SCORE, like I said, has 2. They have Principles U, and then Career Interest Assessment. Those are 2 that you'll find on there. And then there are so many online that you can look up for free. The ONET Interest Profiler is very good. They have them called My Next Move. And then also the Princeton Review has Career Quiz. So yeah, just Google these and they're fun. Adults find them fun, students find them fun. It's just, a nice way to learn about yourself. And then lastly, getting involved in school. So encouraging your students to join a club or a sport, and doing community service. And this not only helps you to feel more invested in school, but it can help to build connections, friendships with other students, and also with the teachers who are the coaches. And so we do also have a community service requirement for graduation. So it's 30 hours. And you may have heard I said 24 at the junior. It's just because with COVID we had to shift things, but now we're back to the standard 30. It's also true that there's a minimum requirement for each grade level. So freshmen are required to complete 6 hours in order to pass their Pathways classes. And then it goes on from there. Sophomores, juniors, and seniors need to complete 8 hours, not 8 years. And if you do complete 6, 8, 8, 8, then students will meet that 30-hour requirement. And it's totally okay to do more, but if you do less each year, then you won't pass the Pathways class. So just keep these numbers in mind. And the activity that a student does must be approved. So the Pathways teachers are the ones who help with this. There is a community service form in the main office that students can take, and then they would fill it out and show their Pathways teacher, and that teacher will log it away, and then at the end of the year they do give us the forms, and so we make sure the students are on track. Okay, so that completes my presentation. So would anyone like to ask any questions who are here? Yes, Saya. So 3 years to graduate, and then for recommended.
So if you already have done it, if you started with Math 2 in freshman,
What might you do after that? Yeah, so you go on to IM3, and then you could take pre-AP, or AP pre-calc, and then could you take AP stats or another class and not take okay. So it sounds as this, I would recommend if you're gonna take calc, AP calc, take the AP pre-calc first, then take calc your senior year. But if you're not trying to get into that type of math, you could do stats or a different math instead. Yeah, so there are some options, but there are some classes that are like, you wouldn't take AP chemistry before you took chem. Like you'd want to take chemistry first and then take AP chem. But there are some classes, like AP environmental science, you wouldn't necessarily need a prerequisite in order to be successful. So if you have those questions, you can just come to me and we'll chat about it. Anything else? Yes?
Yeah, do you have any of these requirements in writing here now?
I could get them for you within 5 minutes.
Okay.
Yes, because it's very useful to have them to look at and to compare the transcript and in the class schedule with it. So it looks like Mr. Reed might help us out here. We do have those handouts.
Sure.
Yeah, and are you looking for graduation and A through G?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, we have those. Sounds good. Yeah, any other questions? Yeah, I'll do an order. Yeah.
if someone wants to follow the art path, like our school has some options, but if the kids are interested in mostly like painting and stuff like that, what's the options for them? Should they look for something outside of school and that would count towards the college, or?
Yeah, so we don't necessarily accept outside credits unless a student is doing a sport, like in their part of ski academy. So, but still, a portfolio for a student could be created with outside work. So we have so many local colleges that we do work with in any way, like Sierra College, or you go to Truckee Meadows Community College. And so I would say that if a student does have a very specific passion and they're looking to pursue that after high school, work it into our schedule as best we can, and if not, it still is beneficial to accrue those hours and that experience outside, because students will submit an activity resume that shares what they've done, and you also could submit secondarily outside transcripts, so from those colleges, and then the artwork, they would have created that. So yes, I would say there are options for that, and specifically we could talk a little bit more in person together if we wanted to map it out, how it looks for you. Yeah. Okay. And did you have a question for, okay.
Yeah, the community service, do you know what are some examples of that, and where would the student find that?
So I won't have all the answers for you in this moment, but there are little opportunities that come up through the school that we do invite people to. Like, for example, we're having a parent evening program in a couple weeks, and we need babysitters. And so students are invited to act as like a babysitter, and that would be considered community service hours. So there will be like local options here that the school will invite students for. And then also outside, it's really that they just need like a sign off. So like if they're volunteering at like an animal shelter, or at really like any organization that they're passionate, I would say like do it in a place you're passionate about. Don't just go anywhere. Like do somewhere where you'll enjoy the time. But then if there is someone who can sign off on it, then that should be sufficient. Jeff, do you have suggestions for like local places that students would do community service frequently here at this school?
Boys and Girls Club would be good.
Okay.
They're in KB. I know a lot of people, if they're interested in like animals, like that, humane societies.
Mhm.
Excuse me. And then,
The Tahoe Food Hub.
yeah,
Okay.
the Tahoe Food Hub, which is part of Sierra Community House, also does a lot of stuff. But even things like Tahoe Business or North Tahoe Business Association, for example, they do like some like different events like Oktoberfest and things like that, which sometimes students can volunteer for, not necessarily all, but like in the food services or collecting tickets or things like that.
And do the Pathways teachers post any of these, or is it kind
So
of?
we do have a career technician. His name is Jordy Holst, and he sends out a bunch of stuff. They're different. He'll be sending out a bunch of stuff. He kind of will be our point person for getting information about community service and stuff out. But yeah, we try to post when they send us like, say for example, like one-off opportunities. You know, hey, music in the park's happening, or music at the beach, and we need volunteers, and they're involved like a nonprofit or something like that. We usually send some stuff out either through email, most typically actually through student Google Classroom. So if they're not in their Pathways Google Classroom account yet, they should make sure to do that, because that's one of our biggest ways, without having to like send you all parents like a million emails with like, these pieces of information. Students what get it through their Google Classroom account typically.
Does that answer your question? Okay. And then, yes, the
Yeah,
other.
just along the lines of community service, so how does the process work if they
Mhm.
wanted to work in an animal shelter?
Mhm.
Obviously, they would contact the animal shelter, see if they needed help, and then what do they bring to the teacher, the Pathways teacher, to get approval?
Yeah, there's a community service form in the main office, and it kind of just like walks the student through the information that they need. If you do want to stop by the main office, I'm not sure if you parked in the front or not, but those, one of those like spinny paper like towers has the community service form there, and it asks for signatures and descriptions of the activity.
And that's what they bring to the Pathways teacher, he signs off,
Yes.
and then, did you say something like a log, or do they, is there
Yeah.
requirements of what they have to do for the?
Yeah, so they would need to document how many hours, and then the teacher would be the one to sign off on, you know, how many they did, and they would keep track. You know, a student might have completed 2 with one form, and then completed 4 with another form, and then they would track that, and then at the end of the year, they will provide those to us, and then we will know if they're on track for their community service. And is there anything I'm leaving out?
Yeah, see how loud this is. Just so people online can hear me too, since I'm out here. But yeah, so if they're going to be doing like a one-off event, the main form is the biggest thing, and that's the primary form students will be doing. But if they're going to be committing, like, I'm going to do this every Saturday for 2 hours the whole year, for example, they'll start with that main form. That would be kind of the first thing they'll turn in. There's a secondary sheet that has many more spaces for time recording that's also available once they have that approved. And so as they're going through, if they know it's going to be multiple like opportunities, just make sure they note that on the form, and so that the Pathways teacher knows like this is going to be every week or something like that, or every other week or once a month or something.
Okay.
But yeah.
Thanks. And yeah, we're working together because even though I've worked at high schools, there are so many new roles at every high school. So yeah, Jeff is very helpful, and if I don't know it, he will. So we're good. Well, yeah, I'd love to see you guys in person. So one-on-one, if you do want to make an appointment with me to follow up with anything, just check out the counseling website, make an appointment, or email me, and we can definitely set that up. And I really appreciate you all coming. So yeah, if there aren't any more questions, I'll be down here too if you want. So okay, thanks.